Python Software Foundation. It is a non-profit organization devoted towards Python community. Was launched in the year 2001. Objective is to foster the development of Python. In the year 2005, PSF received Computer World Horizon Award. President Guido van Rossum. Headquarters Delaware, US. Official website www.python.org. Python.org. Official website for Python www.python.org. It's the official website. Yes. From where we can download Python, from where we can install Python, right? Yes. Okay. So before I go with the Python installation, you need to know something about the Python versions. Python versions. Yes. The first version, Python 1.x version. Python 1.x. It was released in the year 1989. The two version, Python 2.x version. 2.x means 2.1, 2.2, 2.3. The first two version was released in the year 2000. The version what we are using currently is 3 version, Python 3.x version, 3.1, 3.2, 3.3. Now, the first 3 version was released in the year 2008. The first, it was released in the year 2008. Latest version of Python. Latest version of Python. Latest version of Python, it is Python 3.12. Python 3.12. Latest version of Python, right? So I said the first 3 version was released in the year 2008. Next 3.1, 3.2, 3.3, 3.4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 3.12. That is the latest version that we are using. That is the version we are going to install today. I'll be just how to download Python and how to install Python, right? Yes. How to download Python and how to install Python. Yes. Stable version of Python. Stable version, right? Stable version of Python. Okay. Python 3.11. Python 3.11. 3.11, right? Stable version is nothing but mostly used version. Mostly used version, right? Yes. Okay. Next. Python installation. Python installation, right? Yes. Python installation, right? Hmm. So before I go with this Python installation, right? Just I'll go to the settings, apps. Within the apps, scroll down, right? I got Python here. Python 3.12. I'm uninstalling this. Again, I'll reinstall. How to download Python and how to install Python, right? We'll be discussing. Python is providing multiple softwares. Python is providing multiple softwares, right? For Windows, for Linux, for Mac OS. For Linux, no need of any special installation. By default, this Python comes inbuilt within this Linux, or whenever you install this Linux, right? By default, Python also gets installed. No need of any special installation within the Linux environment. Directly you can work with Python. But in Windows or in Mac OS, we need to download and we need to install Python. For Windows, Python is providing two softwares. That for if your Windows is a 32-bit Python software it is providing. If your Windows is a 64-bit, then 64-bit Python software is provided. So how will you check whether your Windows is a 32-bit or 64-bit? So go to this, sorry, no, let it go. Okay, how will you check whether your Windows is 32 or 64 means go to this file explorer, within the file explorer, right? Yes. Within the file explorer, click on this PC, right click on this PC and say properties. Right click on this PC and say properties. You will get this system type 64-bit operating system. It is showing 32-bit operating system. You are supposed to download 32-bit Python software. 64-bit operating system. Okay. So we are supposed to download 64-bit Python software. So here, okay, uninstallation is successful. Close it. Now, how to download Python and how to install Python? How to download Python? Just go to this Chrome browser, right? Within this, what is the official website for Python? What is the official website for Python? www.python.org. This is the official website for Python, from where we can download and from where we can install Python. Within this, you see downloads folder. All releases. In downloads, all releases. All releases. All releases. Whenever you click all releases, scroll down to the bottom. Don't go for active Python releases. Go for looking for a specific release. So what I did, first go to this python.org. In this python.org, click downloads. In the downloads, you will see all releases. Click that all releases and just scroll down to the bottom of the page. Scroll down to the bottom. Don't go for active Python releases. Go for looking for a specific release. Looking for a specific release. 3.12.6. 3.12.6. Just 6 days back. September 6th, 2024. Just 6 days back. A new version was released. 3.12.6. Click that. 3.12.6 you will get and scroll down to the bottom of the page. Scroll it. You will see files. If you want for Mac OS 64-bit universal installer. Mac OS 64-bit universal installer. And it's Windows 64-bit, select it. If it is Windows 32-bit, select this. So just click on this Windows installer 64-bit. Your download will start. Check this. Just click this Windows installer 64-bit. Your download will start. Download started. Just it is 25 MB of size. 25 MB of size. Download finished. Just if you click that exe file, either you can go to the downloads folder and click it, Otherwise, if we click this, okay, you will get this window. Once download is completed, go to this python.org website. Within that, click download folder. In that, all releases. Select Python 3.12.6, the version, and just now installation of Python, right? Once it is downloaded, just before you do the installation, don't forget this. At the bottom, you can see add Python to path. Add Python to path. Otherwise, you need to do manually the settings, right? Environmental settings, we say. So all those not required, just say add Python to path. It is going to add Python to path variable of OS so that Python will be recognized from everywhere. And next, go for customize installation. Go for customize installation. And here, nothing to select, everything are pre-selected. Say next. Say next. Here also nothing to select, but the installation location, see where I'm going to install. By default, if you are saying install, right, it will be installed in C, users, Dell, app data, local, programs, Python, Python 3.12. So this much big path. Instead of all this, just I want to install Python within the C drive. So just I'll keep this cursor here, right? Control here. Just remove all this, remove all this. Just C/Python 3.12. 3.12 means 3.12. So a folder with this name will be created in the C drive. Python 3.12 folder will be created. Under that folder, this Python is going to be installed. Install. Hardly takes just some 30 seconds for installation of Python. Almost done with this. So once it is completed, let us check whether it is properly installed or not. Yes. Python has got 89,300 inbuilt modules. Python has got 89,300 inbuilt modules for different environments. Whatever environment you are from, Python is providing a module for data science, big data, for databases. For every database, it is providing a module, right? So setup was successful. Just to close it. Now, just at the bottom search panel, type CMD to go to the command prompt. Within this, type Python. Whenever you type Python here, then Python has to be recognized. It has to display the Python version first, and the Python interpreter has to be opened. Just I'm typing Python here, right? Python version is displayed. Can you see this 3 arrow symbol? That is Python interpreter. Means here we can type any valid Python statements and interact with Python statement by statement. So any valid Python statements, 5 plus 2, I'm saying, right? 4 plus 2, 6. 13 into 7. So any valid Python statements, right? Yes, 13 into 7. X has 10, Y has 4. What is X value? What is Y value? What is X plus Y value? X minus Y. x into y, x by y, x into 2, x to the power of 2, x equal to hello, HLO, x into 3, prints for 3 times. In this way, any valid Python statements you can type and you can interact with. If you want to come out of this, say quit, quit. Comes out of this Python interpreter, right? Okay, that is regarding Python installation, right? Next is Python execution modes. Python execution modes. Two modes of execution. Two modes. Interactive mode. Second is like batch mode. Here, we directly type Python statements. Here we directly type Python statements. Here we directly type Python. Here we directly type Python statements. We directly type Python statements on the interpreter, and the user can easily interact with the Python. We directly type Python statements on the interpreter, and the user can easily interact with Python statement by statement. Here we directly type Python statements on the interpreter, and the user can easily interact with Python statement by statement. Okay. What is the advantage of interactive mode? Just now I discussed that we can easily interact with Python. We can easily interact with Python statement by statement. Advantage is, if you doesn't know about any Python functionality, you can type and check what output it is going to provide. Based on that, okay, you can analyze to test the functionalities of Python. To test the functionalities, right? To test the functionalities of Python and to learn Python. To test the functionalities of Python and to learn Python. As a beginner, as a learner, this interactive mode works better, right? And statement by statement, you can interact and check what is the output. Batch mode. But for developing applications, right, this interactive mode can't be used when we will go for batch mode. Here we write batch of statements. Here we write a batch of statements, a set of statements within the editors or IDs. So here we write batch of statements within the editors or IDEs, within the editors or IDEs. IDEs means integrated development environments. In real time, we use these IDEs. We write a batch of statements within the editors or IDEs and save it by using .py extension. Save it .py extension and later submit it to Python. Batch of statements within the editors and save it by using .py extension and later submitting to Python. So what are the various editors or IDs where we can write the Python code? Various editors first. Various editors where we write the Python code. Within the notepad, you can write the Python code and create a .py file. Within the notepad, you can create, okay. So within the edit plus, right, we can write the Python code and create a .py file. In the case of Linux, we have got VI and nano editors. We have got VI and nano editors. These are the various editors. Within the Windows, Notepad, Edit Plus. Within the Linux, VI and nano. Various IDs supported by Python. Various IDs. Various IDs supported by Python. PyCharm, PyDev, Komodo, Spider, Eclipse, NetBeans, PyCharm, PyDev, Komodo, Spider, Eclipse, NetBeans, Jupyter Notebook, and VS Code. PyCharm, PyDev, Komodo, Spider, Eclipse, NetBeans, Jupyter Notebook, and VS Code. So you may ask why this many IDs for Python? Why not one or two IDs? Means Python is used for different environments. Different environments use different IDs. Means Python is used for data science, it is used for networking, it is used for testing, it is used for databases. So different environments, use different IDs. Different environments, right? They are going to use different IDs. Like if you talk about data science, they use Jupyter Notebook, they use Spider. Even big data, they use Spider, Jupyter Notebook. Yes. So among all this, right? Okay, for typical web applications, PyCharm is mostly used, VS Code is mostly used. So among all this, right, mostly used ID, right? Python, sorry, is PyCharm mostly used, right? Yes. Mm. So here now, developing the first Python application. Mm. So these are the various editors, various IDs supported by Python. We have got interactive mode and batch mode, developing the first Python application. Developing the first Python application, right, within a editor. Example like Notepad. Example like Notepad. Developing the first Python application within a editor. Example like Notepad. Open Notepad. Open Notepad and type the following Python script. As up to now, we didn't discuss anything about Python technical script. So just I'll take two values, x as 10, y as 20. Just I want to perform some kind of arithmetic operations. Addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. Say print x plus y, x minus y, x by y, x plus y, x minus y, x into y, and x by y. Open Notepad and type the following Python statements, right? Just I'll copy this to a separate Notepad file. I'll copy this to a separate Notepad file, right? Control V. Save it. I created a separate folder in the STS class, right? Yes. Python 7 a.m. batch. Okay, STS created Python 7 a.m. batch, right? Mm, sample1.py extension, right? Yes. I've saved it as sample1.py. So save as. Sample1.py. And now submit this file. Python as. Save as sample1.py and now submit this file to Python as. How you are going to submit this file? Okay. Go to the command prompt at the bottom. Go to command prompt. Within that command prompt, just type cmd. Just type Python, and just specify. Don't say enter. If you say enter, again it will go to interactive mode. So Python, and give the path where the file is available. Within the C drive, it is available. Within that Python 7 a.m. batch, it is available. Within the 7 a.m. batch, what is that? Sample1.py. So in which drive, in which folder the file is available, that in which file, in which folder, and which drive the file is available, right? Yes. 10 plus 20, 10 minus 20, 10 into 20, 10 by 20. Okay. So just the entire path submitting to Python, you will get the output. Yes. But here, what is your observation? But here, here, but here we are writing the code at one place. But here we are writing the code at one place. Where you are writing the code? Within the notepad. And executing at the other place. We are writing the code at one place. Within the notepad you are writing and executing at the other place. At the other place where your command prompt. But to write and execute. But to write and execute. To write and execute at the same place. To write and execute at the same place. We have IDLE. So we are writing the code at one place and executing at the other place. But to write and execute at the same place, we have IDLE. To write and execute at the same place, we have IDLE, which comes along with Python installation. Which comes along with Python installation, right? Using which comes along with Python installation. We can write and execute. We can write and execute at the same place. Using which we can write and execute at the same place. Now, how to open this ideally and how to write the code and execute the code at the same place. So just I'll write the same code. I'll copy the same code. I hope how to write this code and how to execute the code within this ideally. So just in the search already when you have installed Python, you will be getting IDLE. So just type IDLE here. You got Python 3.12 IDLE. Open it. You will get it in interactive mode. This is the Python shell, right? Can you check here? Python 3.12. This in interactive mode. If you want to interact, type statements and interact. But I doesn't want to use interactive mode. File, a new file. Write your code here and execute the code here. So writing the code. Can you see here run option available? Run option available. Before that, try to save your program. Save it. Save the code. Until you save the code, it won't be executed. Run module. What is the 10 plus 20, 10 minus 20, 10 into 20, 10 by 20. So you got this output, right? Writing the code at one place and executing at the other place. Writing and executing at the same place. Okay. Understood everyone. So today we have discussed, check this, Python software foundation, Python versions, Python installation, Python execution modes, interactive mode and batch mode, and various editors where we can write the Python code and executing the Python code, right? And various IDEs. IDEs I'll be discussing separately, right? How to download and how to install, where to write the code, how to execute the code step by step. I'll be discussing about the IDEs. Developing the first Python application within editor like Notepad. Just go to this. Okay, fine. Just I'll take introduction to this data types and variables. Just I'll take 5 minutes more. Data types and variables in Python, entering into the technicals of Python. See, every organization, right, every organization has got data and operations. Every organization use case has got data and operations. Data represented using data types or variables. Operations represented using functions. Understand, if you take the example of a bank has got a data and operation. Data represented using data types or variables, operations using functions. For example, bank has got a data, customer name, account number, address, balance, branch. They're represented using data types or variables. Operations like a deposit operation, withdraw operation, transfer operation, right? Represented using functions. Okay. For example, just observe this. Comparing with other programming languages like C or C++ or Java, comparison with Python. Python supports dynamic data types. In other programming language, if you want to define a variable like x as 10, compulsory this data type defining is compulsory, right? If I say y equal to 4.5, compulsory I need to say float. Z equal to hello if I say, compulsory string. But in Python, no need to define this data types. Directly you can say x as 10, directly you can say y as 4.5, z as hello. No need to define this data types. Right? Yes. But here, what kind of variable x is means based on this data type defining, you are saying it as integer type. What kind of variable y is means based on this data type, you are saying it as float type. But in Python, as you are not defining any data type, what kind of variable x is means what value you are assigning to it. Based on the value assigned, the variable x is created dynamically during runtime. That's why we call dynamic data type. What kind of variable y is float? Why it is float? Because you assigned a float value. There is a function called type function, type of x. Type of x is what type? Integer. Why it is integer? Because you assigned a integer value. Type of y is what? Float. Why it is a float? Because you assigned a float value. Type of z is what type? String type. Why it is a string? Because you assigned a string value to it. So based upon what value you are assigning, right? Based on the value assigned, the variables are created. Yes. So I'll be discussing multiple cases in the tomorrow's class to make you understand much better about these data types and variables. So I'll be just taking 4 cases. With the 4 cases, I'll just brief you about these things, right? Any queries you have got as part of today's session, anyone, right? You can see in the chart for the course content. If you have missed yesterday's session, you can check with the demo videos and the course content for Python full stack for only Python core and advanced. The payment details are provided in the chart, a big message given by the online team. Their contact details, they are provided. Hmm. Any queries you got as part of today's? So we have discussed about Python software foundation, Python versions, Python installations, Python execution modes.
Yes.
And yes, go ahead.
Yes. So, for Mac, which editor we have to use?
Mac also, so here it is supporting ideally, right? Sorry,
Mm.
Mac also, in the Mac also you can see if in the search, you go and check ideally, you will get it. IDLE, if you type
Okay, okay.
IDLE, you will get that IDLE, this one,
Mm.
same way here. Okay, so if I'm done with your queries, if there are no other queries, we'll sign off. So tomorrow also, if people can attend it to see more on these technicals, right? Means tomorrow I'll be showing you programmatically, right? How simple this Python statements. So we'll be going with Python data types or variables, right? In brief, what happens internally, not like whenever you define a variable, what happens internally when you define a variable, how it is stored, how to print its value, how to print its address, how to print its content, that we'll be discussing, right? Here you will be learning how to develop the code, how to build the code, right? Not just learning Python, but for which functionality, what to be used. So you can just compare this course content with any other training sites. We'll be discussing in brief about this Python core advanced. Many advanced modules are included in this, right? Like NumPy, Pandas, Matplotlib, PyMySQL, right? Yes. Fine. So tomorrow you can attend, but from day after tomorrow, the link is going to be changed. So you're supposed to get enrolled for day after tomorrow's class. If you're continuing in this, right? Yes. So from day after tomorrow, you will be getting videos. From day after tomorrow onwards, you will be getting the videos to your Google Drive, notes to your mail, and a WhatsApp group. You will be added to the WhatsApp group. So I'm stopping for here. Thank you all for your time. Meet you tomorrow.